Welcome to the rebirth room, where healing begins and hope finds room. Every story matters, every scar has meaning. Every ending can become a new beginning. Welcome to the rebirth room.
Come sit down. Let's talk.
Hello, and welcome back to the Rebirth Room. I am your host, Dr. V. Nicole Williams, and tonight's conversation is a topic that is very dear to my heart: healing in silence. When you're still functioning, but wounded. When you're still showing up, still working, still serving, still smiling, still carrying everyone else. But somewhere along the way, you've become exhausted. You've become weary. You've become the one pouring into everyone else while quietly running on empty yourself. You've become the woman at the well. Not the woman people talk about. The woman who showed up thirsty. The woman who came carrying questions. The woman who came carrying wounds. The woman who came carrying the weight of her story. And if we're honest, many of us have been her. We know what it feels like to keep functioning while silently hurting. To keep moving while carrying burdens nobody else can see. To appear strong while privately struggling to hold ourselves together. Tonight, we're talking about healing in silence. What happens when life keeps demanding more from you, but your soul is asking for rest? What happens when you're still functioning, but you're not whole? Welcome to the Rebirth Room. Let's talk about it. Tonight, we are talking about healing in silence. Sometimes survival becomes a lifestyle. But there is a difference between surviving a season and living in survival mode. Survival mode is useful during a crisis. It helps us make it through difficult moments. But when survival becomes a lifestyle, something happens. We stop feeling. We stop processing. We stop acknowledging our own needs. We become so focused on getting through the day that we forget we deserve to experience joy. We forget what peace feels like. We forget what rest feels like. We forget what it feels like to be whole. And sometimes, we don't even realize how tired we are until we finally stop moving. Silent wounds are dangerous because they don't always demand attention. They quietly settle into the background of our lives. A disappointment we never processed, a betrayal we never addressed, a grief we never acknowledged, a dream that died, a relationship that changed, a season that broke our heart. Instead of healing, we adapt. Instead of processing, we push through. Instead of restoring, we perform. And eventually, the wound begins showing up in places we never expected. In our relationships, in our confidence, in our decision-making, in our ability to trust, sometimes even in our physical health, because what remains unhealed rarely remains hidden. We're back. Our conversation tonight is about healing in silence. Healing begins the moment honesty enters the room. Not honesty with everyone else, honesty with yourself. The courage to say, I'm tired, I'm hurting, I'm disappointed, I'm grieving, I'm angry, I'm struggling. Not because you're weak, but because you're human. Healing isn't pretending the wound doesn't exist. Healing is acknowledging the wound and deciding it will not define your future. That takes courage. Real courage. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is permission. Permission to rest, permission to grieve, permission to slow down, permission to feel, permission to heal. So many people spend years waiting for someone else to validate their pain, waiting for someone else to acknowledge what happened, waiting for someone else to apologize, waiting for someone else to understand. But healing often begins when we stop waiting for permission from others and start giving it to ourselves. If you're still functioning but not whole, don't lose hope. The fact that you're still here means your story isn't over. The good news is that you don't have to remain in survival mode forever. You don't have to carry every burden alone. And you don't have to keep pretending you're okay. Healing is possible. Wholeness is possible. And sometimes the first step isn't fixing everything. Healing begins with you, by simply telling the truth about where you are. Only then can you begin growing forward. Thank you for joining me in the Rebirth Room. I'm Dr. V. Nicole Williams. Until next time, keep healing, keep growing, and keep believing that your best days are still ahead.
Beautiful thing about the woman at the well is that she didn't leave the same way she came. She arrived carrying emptiness, but she left carrying hope. She came thirsty, but she left change. And perhaps that's what healing looks like. Not pretending the wounds never existed, but allowing God to meet us there. This has been the Rebirth Room. Until next time, keep healing, keep growing, keep believing.
Before you leave this room today, remember this. What broke you is not the end of your story. What hurt you is not your identity. What God has spoken over your life still stands. Until next time, keep healing, keep growing, keep becoming. This has been the Rebirth Room.